Pretty much every type of custom decoration business needs some type of heat press in their shop. Now, the type of press that you actually need is going to be really dictated on the products you're offering to your customers. When it comes to heat presses, you have three types. You have manuals, you have automatics, and you have semi-automatics. A manual press is one that you physically must pull down and essentially close the top platen with the bottom platen, versus a semi-automatic. Often, essentially, you're responsible for the close, and then it'll automatically pop up. And then you have a automatic press, which essentially is air driven with a compressor, and it essentially is called a pneumatic heat press. And that the top platen will come down and rise by just pushing a button. Now really, again, the more automatic it is, the more expensive your press is going to be. When you're choosing a press, don't choose it based on manual or automatic. First, choose it on quality. When it comes to heat presses, there are three variables that they must consistently get right: time, temperature, pressure. If your heat press does not deliver accurate time, temperature, and pressure, it doesn't matter how little work you have to do if it's a automatic versus a manual. It's going to really come down to making sure that those variables are accurate. When it comes to heat presses, you have three main manufacturers in the United States. You first have Hotronics, then you have Geonite, and then you have Hicks. All three of these manufacturers have been around for decades, and they all deliver a pretty high quality heat press. I personally would recommend all three of them as far as knowing that this is a pretty good value. It's gonna deliver accurate time, temperature, pressure. What you don't wanna do is buy some off-brand press, typically from like China, that essentially has just inferior parts, and it's not gonna deliver the accurate pressure and temperature that you need. If you don't have a high quality top platen that's delivering that accurate temperature, you're not gonna successfully be able to transfer or cure a garment properly. Okay, now once you've actually established the type of press you're looking at between a manual, automatic, and semi-automatic, realize that there are different types of the way that the top platen and bottom platen come together. So first you have a clam. Clam is what it sounds like. It's a clamshell press in which the top platen just comes down and closes on the bottom platen. That is one of your more common types of heat presses. Now, a clamshell press, one disadvantage is you typically are stuck with working underneath the heating element. And if you raise your hands or anything like that, you can burn yourself. What we like to actually often suggest using is either a swing or a drawer press. A swing press is one in which the top platen actually swings away, allowing you to easily load the garment on the bottom platen and then put your transfer and press it. Again, what's nice about this is you're not working directly underneath the heating element and putting yourself at risk of being burnt. Another type of press that is very similar to this is a drawer press, or one where the bottom platen essentially moves instead of the top. And the bottom platen pulls out like a drawer, in which you then can load the garment onto the bottom platen and then slide it back in and then close it with the top platen. Now again, the nice thing about a drawer and a swing press is you're not working directly underneath the heating element, and this even makes it a lot easier to get the transfer aligned properly on the garment. Now, when it comes to choosing your press, it comes down to, again, first, who you're going to purchase from one of the three main manufacturers. Second, identify if you want to go automatic or manual. It's going to be really dictated on your price. And then thinking about the type of closure where the top and platen come together. When it comes to the actual size of the press, most presses start around 15 by 15. But realize a lot of times your customer is going to demand a larger print area, and that's when it makes more sense to go with an 18 by 20 press. Whenever you're purchasing a heat press, it's a good idea to purchase one that is larger than what you're probably typically going to need so you can satisfy more customer demands. Typically it just means a higher price and not necessarily that you can't print as on many objects. Again, larger typically gives you more flexibility. Now, what will also give you more flexibility is to actually be able to adjust the bottom platen of the press. So some heat presses, they actually allow you to change the bottom platen, or essentially where you're loading the garment or product to be pressed. And by changing the actual size of the bottom platen, you're able to get a great clean print area. When it comes to transfer pressing, again, time, temperature, pressure. When you want accurate pressure, if you're printing a sweatshirt or essentially a polo or something with raised buttons or something, to get clean pressure, you often have to use a heat pillow. But if you can use an actual platen that's perfect for that exact print size, you can really make yourself very efficient and again, get the best possible printed product. We know that Hotronix, for example, sells several different types of platens that can be changed with their presses. So for example, if you're going to be printing sleeves or legs, they have just a long press or a platen that can be put on the bottom, and it makes printing the sleeves and legs much easier. If you're going to print bags and you're going to have a smaller print area, you can easily adjust that platen. Changing these platens literally takes about 3 seconds. The only fallback are they're expensive. When it comes to heat presses, accessories are never cheap, typically because they're specifically manufactured for that press. So, when it comes down to it, what type of press should you purchase? If we're up to us, we would always suggest working with Hotronix. Hotronix has been around for over 50 years, and they're really they're a subsidiary of Stahls. And Stahls is a very strong decoration company who supplies a lot of different types of heat transfer materials and equipment. When it comes to their actual presses at Hotronix, we highly suggest the Fusion. When it comes to the Fusion, it can act as either a drawer or a swing press, which essentially allows you to, again, print products without working directly underneath the heating element. What they also offer at Hotronix is the Air Fusion, which is essentially the exact same press, but an automatic function, but you don't have the drawer capability. Again, you get what you pay for when it comes to heat presses, and you really want to work with a manufacturer in the United States that has a good warranty. Realize that Hotronix, Hicks, and Stahls, they pretty much all have lifetime guarantees on the heating element. If essentially your temperature ever has any problems, you're going to essentially have it under warranty. The last thing to think about, purchase some type of heat press thermometer probe. The probe itself is essentially going to allow you to put the probe to the surface of the top platen and read the temperature. Realize that you must make sure that the temperature is the same throughout the entire platen. If you have a cold spot, that is really not good, and whenever you're pressing a transfer, that specific area often won't be fully cured because it's not reaching the temperature it should. So spending around $100 on a thermometer probe just to periodically check your press to make sure it's delivering the accurate temperature is a good investment. If you have any questions about how to choose the right heat press for your business, please don't hesitate contacting us. Thank you.